Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. I'm Maria Bartiromo. Hope you're having a good Wednesday morning. It is Wednesday, March 12th, 8 a.m. on the button on the East Coast. Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins is defending his goal to cut nearly 80,000 agency jobs, 15% of the workforce, while insisting no veterans will lose benefits or care. The agency will be left with roughly 400,000 employees back to pre-pandemic levels. Senate Veterans Affairs Committee ranking member Richard Blumenthal, however, is calling these cuts illegal. He's introducing a new bill to rehire any veterans let go by the Trump administration, saying he'll give them back pay and protect them from future firings. Committee Chairman Jerry Moran also with the bill, which would slow down agency restructuring and force the administration to work closer with Congress on any cuts. Joining me now is the man himself, Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins. Mr. Secretary, always a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Can you walk us through your plans and speak to what you're hearing from the Democrats who are criticizing this?
Sure, I'd love to, Maria. It's good to see you this morning. Hey, look, what we're doing is a very methodical plan. Look, let's take this out. Donald Trump was elected to make generational change in Washington, D.C. That means that every agency up here was given the same directive from OPM to look at a reduction in force. Roughly 15% are different departments. Now, what we're doing is we're looking at that from a very methodical point of view. We're saying, okay, how are we structured? Are we structured properly? Are we putting the veteran first in what we're doing? And we're doing so with career VA employees. We're doing it with senior executives. We're making sure this is a process in which we do not harm the forward-facing veteran care or our benefits process as we go forward. Now, if I had to address the Democrats' problem here, I didn't know that baseball season had gotten here already because I'm having to come through the grandstanding to get here. And that's exactly what ranking member is doing. In fact, my problem, though, with the ranking member is he's getting to the point where he knows that that's not going to pass. He knows that what he's doing is not right. But yet he says it anyway because he's not challenged by most of the mainstream media because he's playing to the union bosses, the legacy media, and others who don't want to see change. Maria, Veterans Health Care has been on the GAO high-risk list for 10 years. Yeah. 10 years.
Yeah.
And we've increased the budget almost $200 billion, especially while the Democrats were in charge over the last 4 years. So my simple question is this. Do we want to help veterans or do we want a grandstand? I think it's pretty obvious what they're doing.
I think you just were spot on in your explanation. And I mentioned this the last time we spoke. My father, may he rest in peace, was so loyal to the Veterans Association. The VA was what my father loved. And when he needed health care, when he was sick, I would say, I want to take you to the best doctors in New York City and take you into Manhattan. No, I'm going to the VA. I want to go to the VA. And I'll be honest with you, Secretary, I never really felt like the care there was as good for my father as I could have gotten him somewhere else. But he refused to go anywhere else. What's the problem? How can you raise the level of care, protect care for veterans, but also take it to the next level?
Well, God bless your father and all of them that we serve. That's who. Look, Maria, if everybody wants to attack me, come on. That's fine. You can attack me all day long because I don't work for anyone else at the VA except the president who put me here and the veterans that we serve.
Right.
That's all I work for. And so when we talk about changes, my veterans' changes are to make sure that we do get better health care. You know how we do that, Maria? Is actually we require higher standards. We keep pushing ourselves. We make sure that the administration of how we do our business is free from bureaucracy and things that keep us from actually having health care that we want to have. Now, all of our folks, and we got some great veteran employees, VA employees all over this country doing great work every day. I want to make it better. I want to give them the tools, informational tools, computer tools, to make sure that we're simply doing what we can to make the VA experience better. That means that we're going to attract more doctors. That means we're going to attract more nurses. That means we're going to attract more LPNs, custodians, people who work in our hospitals and our CBOCs. But the only way we do that is by requiring standards. I've told this VA since I got here, you'll have no greater friend than this secretary. But you're also going to have no person who's going to hold you more accountable and push you to do better, because that's what the American people and the veteran deserve.
That's what we all want, accountability and better care. I want to get your take on what's going on in Congress. Look, you were there. You know what they're going through and trying to come to an agreement, right? When you were the congressman from Georgia. I mean, the House passed a spending bill to keep the government funded through September. It now heads to the Senate, where it must pass and get to Trump's desk before the end of the day on Friday, or to avoid that government shutdown. President Trump called the passage a big win for Republicans and for America. And this bill provides $6 billion for veterans' health care. Mr. Secretary, is that the right number? How will you make sure that new funding is properly spent? And where does that money go now, once it is, in fact, official?
No, great. I think, look, Maria, if the other side wants to shut down the government, I mean, that's in the Senate right now for them to decide. I think the House has made a very strong statement, and the President Trump leading that way, but also Speaker Johnson and the others, they've shown unity. Remember, everybody thought no one in the House could get anything passed. Well, they surprised everybody so far because they understand what's at stake, and that's our future in our country. Look, what we get from this budget will go toward things that we have said was going to go towards. It's going to go toward veteran health care. It's going to go toward making sure our benefits. And also, let me say one thing, because I didn't mention this earlier, Maria, but I want to say it. And it's for Senator Blumenthal, Senator Duckworth, all these senators and others, even on the approach committee up there, who actually say that we're going to cut disability benefits and we're going to cut health care to veterans. All I will say to you is quit scaring my veterans. Quit scaring my employees. Don't talk in things that you know are not true. We're going to fight back on this every way, because I don't want to see this happen, because I get calls from veterans every day who love what they get at the VA, and they're saying, is this going to go away? And I tell them, no, quit letting them scare people, because they're doing it for political gain for the folks that they want to support, which is a bigger government and bigger stuff that they know has not worked in 10 years of being on the high-risk list.
And what do we need? What do we need for our veterans who come back from their incredible service, having seen the ultimate terrible things that they actually are witness to? I want to get your take on that, because, you know, over the last 4 years, when Joe Biden was sending all that money to all the illegals and housing illegals and caring for illegals, a lot of people said, why are we accepting money going to foreigners, money going to people who came into this country and broke the law, came here illegally, and we see veterans on the street and they're homeless right now? So give us a sense of what you want to be able to provide to our very courageous men and women who put their lives on the line for this great nation and then came back and tried to, you know, assimilate into the country once again.
Yeah, that's one of my sort of closest to my heart projects here at the VA. And also the VA, and especially senior leadership, know that I'm not happy. I'm not happy that over the past 5 to 6 years, we've spent over $3 billion in both homelessness and suicide prevention and suicide care, and we're not seeing the numbers move. Homelessness has went down some, I'll grant you that. But when you have almost 40,000 still homeless, that means that you're spending $3 billion and we're not making the dent that I believe we could actually make. So I'm asking different questions, Maria. I'm asking, why are we doing what we're doing? Let's reevaluate this. Do we need consultants telling us, you know, things that we already know? Or do we need more programs out there with people, maybe out with partnership with the VA, that are actually talking to veterans who may not want to come in, but they're out there and they're calling their battle buddies. They're calling their wingmen. They're calling those folks, but yet we need to get help to them, because most statistics and studies show that over roughly 50% or more of those who are death by suicide are not in contact with the VA. We've got to act differently here. And I'm tired of us asking the same questions, doing the same things, and expecting a different result. You know what that's called? It's called insanity. And we're not going to have it anymore here at the VA.
Thank you for making this a priority, Secretary. This is so important. I'm with Jonathan Fahey this morning. Jonathan, jump in here. Go ahead.
Yeah. Secretary Collins, I'm glad you made the point about the suicides and working on that. Are there, from going out in the field, talking to the veterans, what are you hearing from them that they want from the VA that they haven't been getting during the Biden administration?
They want it to work, you know, in the sense it works for them. Again, I made this statement, the VA is special, but we're not unique. We're the largest healthcare provider in the country, pretty much bar none, with 170 hospitals, 1,500 community clinics and all. But what they want, and what I found is this, we, in times, I think, make it difficult to access. We make it a little more difficult than it should be. So I'm changing the narrative here from no to yes, from maybe to let's see what we can do to get there. Because when they get into the system, whether they use our system in our buildings or they use community care, which, by the way, the Biden administration seemingly deferred and did not want people to go into the community, which the Mission Act that I helped pass in Congress actually says they have the ability to do. We're going to give all options for veterans. So what they want is just like everybody else. They want to have the choices in their health care. They want to be able to do simple things like take their phone and be able to do all their appointments and get their stuff for community care, just like you or I can in private health care. We're actually looking to bring this system up to date so it's more user friendly. And that means it's veteran friendly.
All right, we will leave it there. Secretary, it's always a pleasure. Thanks very much. We appreciate your leadership.